I like to talk to you about a movie that was called Cooley High. For those not old enough to remember, Cooley High was a movie that was made in 1975. And at that time, me and a lot of our neighborhood friends, or it could be just me and my sister Tanya, we would go to the movies on a constant. And in our neighborhood, they had started to play these all black movies. At that time, they would be playing movies like Shaft, The Mac, and all the different Pam Grier movies. Later, those movies ended up with a definition that was called black exploitation, which really wasn't a good phrase about the movies, but that's all we had. Then in 1975, we had a movie that came out. And what made it huge for us was more than one reason. One was this movie was about young teenage black boys. And most importantly for us, it was about Chicago. And we didn't have that type of movie that I can recall that dealt with black teenagers, especially those from Chicago. And my sister had already caught wind about the movie because she just so happened to see them when they were filming the movie, a couple of scenes. So when the movie came out, she's like, we got to go see this movie. So we went. And I will say, I'm not going to give any spoilers. I'm going to give details about the movie, but it's not my objective to do any spoilers on here. So in Cooley High, the main characters in the movie were two guys. One guy went by the nickname of Cochise, and the other guy went by the nickname of Preach. Cochise was a high school basketball star. Both of these guys were high school seniors, and they went to a school called Cooley High School. Cochise was very good at basketball, and his friend Preach, he was more or less of a intellect. As much as he had streethood in him, he was still an intellect. He loved writing, he loved poetry and those type of things. And as the movie goes on, we start off with Cochise and Preach, along with two more of their friends that went by Pooter and Willie. And once the movie started, these guys played hooky from school. And this gives us the film work of the city of Chicago. We see up close the Chicago City buses, the Chicago City L trains, and one particular scene, the boys went to the Lincoln Park Zoo and being silly, and it was just a really funny scene that really lets you know how lighthearted this movie could be. And the thing that I most was impressed about the movie was it was flowing through. And this movie was basically comedy and a drama, and even still had some tearjerker in it as well. But as we follow these guys home, we see that Preach lives in the projects with his mom and little sister, and Coach lives in a house, but it's full of all kinds of little kids. Every day that Cochise goes home, he's always checking the mail. He wants to see if he's got any basketball invites from colleges. And everybody in the house was just It was almost like he was invisible. He would go through from the speaking to the adults to directing kids and all. And in one situation, we had a little baby who was playing in the toilet, dipping mail in and out of the toilet. And as Coach Cheese picks the child up, he sees a letter and it's wet, but it is a letter that he can make words out. It was waterlogged, and it come to find out that he was accepted to play basketball at Grambling State University. He runs to go find his friends, his guys, and they go celebrate, drinking cheap beer and cheap wine, just being neighborhood guys. They go to a house party where Coach East is kissing on a girl and everything else. He ends up getting into a fight with a guy. The house party turns into a fight, tears up the furniture, girl screams, house party's over. And not too long after them leaving this party, Preach and Coach East end up getting in some trouble. So I'm gonna stop right there on the plot of it, because like I said, I do not want to give any spoilers. I just want to at least pique your interest to let you know that this movie had great detail in it. From my understanding, the writer of it, his name was Eric Monty, and he was basically writing about his life in Chicago. And eventually, Eric Monty is the person who gave us Good Times, the Jeffersons, What's Happening, and those type of things, even though there's a whole story on that because his ideas were stolen and he had to sue about his ideas being stolen from him. But back to what I was speaking on, this movie. This movie, even though I was a teenager at the time, it's something about it that affected me that never made me forget it. And I do believe, because when I speak to some of my friends at that time, still, when you say the title, we know that movie. So it's really that good of a deal. And I don't care what age you are right now, younger, older, if you have seen it, you'll know what I mean. But if you haven't seen it, you really need to see this movie and give that a chance and know that I recommended it for you. Now, the big thing about the movie were the people, the actors. At that time, the two main characters were not household names. They were not big time actors. But after playing in this movie, for instance, Cochise was played by the actor Lawrence Hilton Jacobs. And not too long after doing the movie Cooley High, Lawrence Hilton Jacobs ended up on a TV series that was named Welcome Back, Kotter. He played a basketball star by the name of Freddie Boom Boom Washington. The star of the series was a comedian by the name of Gabe Kaplan, but that series also gave us a very young John Travolta, and he played the Italian Vinnie Barbarino Wood. He would always say Wood. So that was big for Lawrence Hilton Jacobs to take off a spring from there and then get in other movies later. Playing the role of Preach was the actor by the name of Glenn Turman, and Glenn Turman did a wonderful job in Cooley High. And the part that I know made the movie very interesting to me was both Lawrence Hilton Jacobs and Glenn Turman. They played high school students, but they were grown men in real life, and I didn't know it, because what was weird to me was in real life, not long after Glenn Turman married the singer Aretha Franklin in real life. And when it happened, I thought, oh man, Aretha's old and she marrying high school dudes. But It was just Glenn Turman playing a younger part. And he and Aretha Franklin, they married for some time before they divorced later. Glenn Turman, later acting, played in another type of blaxploitation movie that was called JD's Revenge. And that's something else you can look up as well. But I'm not going to speak on the movie of it, but it was a pretty good movie. And then those of age, of any age, can look at A Different World. And Glenn Turman played Colonel Taylor in A Different World. He was the professor to Dwayne Wayne and the other characters. I got a gift in the mail the other day for my Father's Day. My sister Tanya sent me this shirt. Got the Cooley High caricatures on it. And there's Preach. There's Cochise. And it really got me thinking about the movie and how much I love it. First of all, if you watched me before, you know I am a movie fiend. I love my movies. And it starts way back with stuff like this. And I do, once again, recommend, I don't know how you do your movies, how you get your movies, but go out and find this movie and watch it. And if you do, hit me up in comments and tell me what you think. Also, the way the movie that I spoke about how it affected me, are there any movies in your younger days that you can recall that affected you in a type of way that 20 years later, 30 years later, you still think about that movie or classify it in a different way? If so, hit me in the comments and let me know. Also, I'd like it if you could, if you hit me with any likes on the video, if you like this here. And I also would want to know if there's a type of movie that you would like me to speak about. I'd be glad to do that as well. And before closing, I'd like to say, if you could, and you like my page, if you could subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. So I'm going ahead and close this out and say that'll be it for this one. And take care and bye-bye.